I'm Elisa Parker. This is the Wild and Scenic Film Festival, celebrating 22 years of this extraordinary festival. It is one of the largest of its kind in the United States, and we bring together, I call them our environmental action heroes, coupled with storytellers, and it really is around solutions. And stories help shape our culture, and I can't think of anything else more needed now, especially as we look at climate justice. We were just talking about gender equity, racial justice. It's all intersected, it's all connected. I love connecting with the amazing people here. Like we have Chelsea Jolly, and her two films are With the Tide and JOJO. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you. I should say welcome back.
Oh, yep.
How many times have you been to Wild and Scenic?
I have been here 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily. And with COVID, there was a bit of a break.
We were talking about the pandemic and how with Wild and Scenic Film Fest, I mean, the pandemic shifted everything with how we're consuming content and stories and media, and we had gone virtual for a while, and it feels really good to be back now and actually having everyone connecting in person. I don't know about you, but this is such an important festival to like actually meet other people.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of community around the space of storytellers and friends, and it's just like such a meaningful place to gather and talk about ideas and films. So honored to be back. It's
good to have you.
Yeah.
So we were also discussing just being a filmmaker in general, and sometimes there's amazing opportunity in that, and then also just some of the challenges in that too. I guess before we even jump in, do you want to speak to that a little bit, and what has that landscape been like for you in a post-pandemic world, in especially working in the documentary short film landscape?
Yeah, sure. Well, as you know, there's a commercial and documentary world, and the budgets in those worlds don't always add up, so it can be quite difficult for people to sign on and the value systems to match the level of funding that you'd like to see in that type of storytelling. So always a struggle trying to sell what you're so passionate and you believe in, to certain funders or clients. And so, yeah, I think that's an ongoing struggle in the industry, but also, just obviously being a woman in the industry, we still have not achieved equity in that space. And so it's this constant, finding other groups and support, within it to, find your way.
It's like we have to systemically do things differently now.
Yeah.
To see new results, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of benefits of coming to a festival like this as well, where you can hopefully connect with some good resources that can support the work you're doing. Speaking of which, you have 2 films here. So tell us about both of them, and then we're also going to get in with JoJo. I know it's such a sweet story of this young boy. Is he 10? 11?
He was 11 when we shot, and he actually just turned 13 this year.
Wow, so
it's wild.
That's the other thing. You've been working on this for several years.
Yep, I think COVID kind of got, things are a little bit of a slower process with the pandemic going on, but we've gotten there for sure.
Tell us about the other film too, and then we'll jump into JoJo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With the Tide. So it's a film about youth surfing in Yakutat, a rural village in Alaska, and it's about access to the ocean and surfing as a means of mental health and overall health of community and well-being, and what that looks like, what that process looks like. Accessing your backyard in a new way. Just that journey for those kids.
How did you connect within that story in the first place?
Great question. Well, I'm a lifelong surfer, and I've worked with youth in the past, and so it was kind of this no-brainer. We had some friends that were going up to help with the project. We had a mutual friend developing the surf club for these kids, and they asked if I wanted to come help with the club and also document the process, and I said absolutely, I am there, and I fell in love with the community.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are one of the key stories in there that has transformed how you're showing up now?
Ooh, okay. I did not expect, I think it's always hard, in this landscape of storytelling. There's like a lot of people coming into communities that they have nothing to do with to tell these stories, and it's kind of it was an interesting one for me. I was excited to be there, but also very aware of my presence as an outsider, and connecting with the community in the way that I have, and seeing the need for or not the need, but I think the desire for these kids to want to learn about filmmaking and tell stories from their own perspectives.
Right.
And that was like a big, I kind of got, that's why the story, actually, the film took so long, is because I kind of was waylaid into this new project of like bringing cameras in for the kids to like learn their own digital storytelling over the years. So I wasn't expecting that to come from
Right,
it.
because you're here to capture this story, and then it ends up having this like multi-purpose experience.
Fully.
Well, and that also, Chelsea, too, can you speak to a little bit, especially in the documentary space, when you're with someone, the vulnerability of telling their story?
Yeah.
Can you speak to even just the responsibility that you have? So that, because you stepped in, you were engaged with them. It was like a co-learning experience, it seems like.
Hugely so. It like becomes this really collaborative process. I mean, you would hope for that, right? The storytellers coming in with that type of responsibility to it and the intention there. And I don't think that's always the case, but I think, I lucked out in having connection to these folks and exploring it together and having it be a meaningful process.
That's amazing. One of our other filmmaker guests, Hao Zhen, came from Taiwan. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if you've met with him yet, but he's a surfer. Yeah. And it was, at first, you're watching the film and you're thinking, wow, what a beautiful story of another 10-year-old boy. Right. And his experience, as a surfer. And then to find out that they weren't even allowed on the beach up until the 70s. I'm like, that makes sense now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and what is prohibitive to like accessing your own backyard in all those ways, and whether it's psychological or just learned fears, and a lot to get past.
So and even so, with that film being able to translate what it means for this community and their culture through that element of surfing, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's been neat to see. I'm sorry, was that a question as well? Sorry.
It could be.
Oh. Okay. Gotcha.
It could. Are you still? And you're still surfing. How do you surf in Corvallis?
Well, we put on a thick wetsuit and drive out to the coast. Oregon has some. Surprisingly, the water is actually warmer in Alaska than it is in Oregon. Like. There are jet streams coming in at different angles across the ocean, but it's ice cream headaches all summer long in Oregon, but in Alaska it's quite warm. Yeah, surprisingly.
Okay, so another passion, when we were talking off camera, and this ties in with JOJO. Right. You're like, let's talk amphibians and what's going on with the frogs and the toads.
Yep. So our amphibian friends are in trouble. There's just a lot happening in the world of biodiversity loss and decline, as we know. I mean, being at this festival, it's surrounding the efforts in conservation and how we gather and take action on those issues. But amphibians are ones that sort of not left out, but maybe not as much in the limelight, and this all just came together in a really magical way. JOJO, the subject of the film, is really passionate about reptiles and amphibians, and he learned about what's happening to them. There's this pathogen that's wiping out mass populations of frogs and toads. Over 200 species have been lost. Yeah. Wow. I know, and nobody knows about this stuff.
Nobody knows about that.
What is it like right up here?
What does that look like then for biodiversity? Like, how does that impact that?
Oh, greatly so. I mean, everything serves a purpose in these systems, and it's like, there's a lot of disruption that we don't see, all the way from below the soil. You have your fungal networks to like the bugs and who eats them and how their populations grow, and toads play a big part in that. Like, carbon sequestration even. They're in that cycle. I'll save you the details. I nerd out.
Well, as we wrap this up, I mean, we're solution focused. So what can we all do? I mean, one obviously is knowing about it, but what else can we do?
Yeah, a big one is, learning about chytrid fungus, learning about how we carry that between aquatic habitats. Like something as simple as cleaning our footwear. We travel between a freshwater creek and a pond, and it's really easy to contaminate those habitats. So just going on their resources, I can offer that. I'm not sure what that looks like, but I could give you a website.
Okay, yeah, what's the website?
So it's ARC Protects, ARC, Amphibian Reptile Conservancy, protects.org. You can go on there and there's an entire blog post and a lot of actionable steps that you can do, small things like cleaning your shoes or learning about exotic pet trade to help better protect these environments.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea, for bringing these stories to light and for being here back at Wild and Scenic, and keep on surfing, keep on sharing the stories. It's a pleasure to connect with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, likewise. Appreciate it.
I'm Melissa Parker. It is the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. We are here all weekend long with other incredible stories like Chelsea's, and we'll be right back. Yeah.